Today we're going to be making arguably the greatest, most iconic sandwich of all time. The Italian-American classic. A crusty loaf of bread, some golden chicken cutlets, covered in tomato sauce, fresh mozzarella cheese, and of course a lot of Parm. The chicken Parm sandwich is personally one of my favorite sandwiches, and I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks on how to make it. Get ready. Let's make it. To make the loaf of bread, you're going to grab a large stainless steel bowl and add 2/3 of a cup or 160 grams of warm water. Then half a tablespoon or 5 grams of sugar. Finally, half a tablespoon or 3 grams of instant yeast. Mix together and let sit for a few minutes until it looks foamy on top. When the yeast is activated, add 1.5 cups or 200 grams of bread flour, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, mix with a spoon, and keep mixing until it's all combined. This is a higher hydration dough, so it's going to look pretty wet, but don't worry, we aren't going to need it. Once it's all combined, cover with plastic wrap and let rest for 30 minutes. Since we aren't kneading, to build gluten, we're going to do a series of stretch and folds. Okay, with a wet hand, if you don't wet your hand, the dough will just stick to you. You're going to grab the dough from the edge of the bowl, stretch it upwards, and then fold across, gently pushing into the dough. Then turn the bowl, grab, stretch, and fold at all 4 corners. Flip the dough so that all the seams are facing down, then cover again and let rest for 30 minutes. You're going to do this 4 times every 30 minutes, including the one you just did. Once your stretch and folds are done, now it's time to shape the dough. Lightly flour your work surface and place your dough down. You're going to deflate the dough and shape it by pressing down and grabbing the corners, stretching into a rough rectangle. To shape into your loaf, grab the top 2 corners and fold 2/3 of the way down. Then, grab again from the top and fold to the end like an envelope. Use the sides of your hands to press forward on the dough, sealing the edge. Use your hands to roll the dough, roll from the middle outwards. Keep doing this until it's the length that you want. Get a baking tray, line it with parchment, place your loaf on top, then cover with a towel and let rise for 45 to 60 minutes. Preheat your oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit, remove the towel, then score your loaf 3 times, or whichever design you want. Grab a handful of ice cubes and then throw them into the oven. Immediately put your baking tray in and close the door. This creates steam necessary to produce oven spring. Cook for about 20 minutes or until your desired color. Alright, to make the tomato sauce, get a medium-sized pot and place over low heat. Add a generous amount of olive oil, about 4 tablespoons. Let it heat up a bit, then add 4 roughly chopped cloves of garlic. We're going to blend it afterwards, so just roughly chopped is fine. Toast for about 30 seconds, but don't let the garlic turn brown. Then add 1 can or 796 milliliters of San Marzano tomatoes, half a teaspoon of chili flakes, a big pinch of kosher salt, and some fresh cracked pepper. Mix this, then add about a cup of water. Get an immersion blender or transfer to a blender and blend to break up all the whole tomatoes. If you used a blender, pour back into the pot, then turn the heat on medium and let cook down for about 30 minutes. You're going to want it to reduce by about half. Now to make the chicken cutlets. Take your chicken breast and slice halfway through, then drizzle with some oil and beat with an inanimate object until about 1/4 or 1/2 inch thick. Do this with the rest of your chicken breast and reserve to the side. Alright, now get 3 plates. Fill one with half a cup of plain white flour. Get the next and crack 2 eggs into it. Beat until thoroughly combined. For the last one, pour in 1 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 pinch of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of dried oregano, and grate about 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. Mix it all well with your hands until completely incorporated. Get the 3 plates together, then take your chicken cutlet, go into the flour, coat well, shake off any excess, then into your egg, making sure that there's no dry spots, then into your breadcrumb. Coat all over, pressing lightly until it's completely covered, and then repeat with the rest of your cutlets. Get a pan over medium heat and add about 3/4 of an inch of oil. Let it get hot. To tell if your oil's hot enough, sprinkle a tiny bit of your leftover breadcrumbs. If it starts to bubble right away, then it's ready. Fry each cutlet about 3 to 4 minutes aside or until golden. Once they're done, transfer to a wire rack and immediately hit them with a pinch of salt. Then go ahead and repeat this with the rest of your cutlets. Alright, now to assemble. Slice your loaf in half and place on a baking tray. Then drizzle some olive oil on both sides. Broil in the oven until lightly toasted. Make sure you watch it closely so it doesn't burn. Once it's done, take the top half off, then place 2 cutlets on, followed by some of your sauce. Don't put too much sauce or it'll make it soggy. Then lay some thinly sliced fresh mozzarella, put it back in the oven and broil until the cheese melts. It will only take a couple of minutes. Then grate on a generous amount of parm, lay down a few basil leaves, and top with your top loaf. The bread's nice and crusty to give the sandwich some bite and some structure. The chicken's juicy and crispy. The acid from the tomato sauce really balances the fat from the mozzarella. The sauce has a bit of spice from the chili flake, and there isn't too much sauce that it makes the sandwich all sloppy. The parm gives a lot of umami. It's really good. This is one of my favorite sandwiches. You gotta make this super simple sandwich. If you just wanna buy your own bread, it makes it 10 times easier. It's such a simple sandwich, but it hits all the right components. And that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next recipe. What are you still doing here? Get out of here.